Hey quilting friends, it's Carolina from Always Expect More here today, and we are working on block 14 of the Quilty 5K, which is the road to Oklahoma. Are you ready? Let's get started. We're cutting out block 14, the road to Oklahoma block, and we need two 2 3/8 pieces. And I now have my spot-on dots that I can use when I'm measuring these. So I've got 2 3/8. So a quarter is 2/8. 3/8 would be one line beyond that. So I'm just gonna put my spot-on dots on there. Make sure that everything's all lined up. Look at this one where you can see her. There we go. So everything's all lined up, and I can go ahead and cut my 2 3/8 inch piece. Now we always cut our bigger pieces first, and you don't always have to cut from yardage. If you have scrap pieces, you can absolutely cut from scrap pieces instead. So now we're gonna be able to cut this down. I've got my 2 3/8 line right there. There we go. And that gives me my 2 3/8. Now a quick check that you can always do is rotate 190 degrees, put them on top of each other. If they still match up, then you're good, or well, at least you've got a square. If they don't match up, that means that you know that one way or the other you've got wrong. So those are my 2 3/8, and now I need 6 2 by 2 inches. So I'm just going to take the same strip that I have, and I'm just going to cut it down to 2 inches. I can put my dots in place again, so I know where my 2 inches are. I know where my 2-inch mark is. There we go. And I'm going to cut this down. I'm going to grab a little bit of a smaller ruler. And I need 6 2-inch pieces. And I've got 2 layers on top of each other, so I'm just going to need to make 3 cuts. That's 1. That's 2. Oh, my spot-on dot is a little unsticky. I just need to wash it off and get any lint that's gotten on there off. Or any oils from my fingers, that'll also mess with the adhesive on the back. But it's a reusable adhesive, so it just needs to be washed off, and then the adhesives will be all set to go again. But there we go. So I have my 3 2-inch pieces and my 2 3/8, and that's out of my Very Berry, and I just need to make the exact same cuts out of my Mirage Blue, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And there we go. I have all the pieces that I need for my road to Oklahoma block. We can go over to the sewing machine and start sewing. We're doing the road to Oklahoma block, and if you haven't seen them before, on the website I have these sheets that you can download completely free, and it has all of the cutting instructions, the detailed instructions on how to make the quilt block, some different ways that you could put the block together to make quilts, and then a coloring sheet of the blocks so that you can color in a quilt and get all kinds of quilt ideas. And so these are on the site for every single block, and it has the cutting instructions for 6-inch, for 12-inch, and for 18 inches. And this is for all 22 blocks in the series. So we're going to go ahead and follow these instructions to make our road to Oklahoma. And that first instruction is to draw our line. We're just going to use our fine point pen to draw a line on the back of the two larger blue squares. And I'm going to pair these up with the two larger very berry squares. Put them in place. Then I'm going to stitch just a 1/4 inch on either side of the line, and then I can cut this with scissors. And now I can cut these right on the blue line. And just press towards the dark. I'm going to take a second here to go ahead and clip off all my dog ears. And now I can lay out my block. I have 4 of these squares going like this. And this is a pretty simple block, which is nice. And it's just so versatile. If you look at the bottom of the coloring sheet, or the bottom of the instructions, you can see that you get this really neat secondary design when you start putting 4 of them together. And that's why on the bottom of these sheets, I put 4 of each block together and colored it in different ways so that you can see what happens with the secondary design. So these corners here, when you put 4 of them together, you get a star in the center. So you'll get these stars in all the corners, which is super fun. And then you also get this kind of plaid crisscross pattern. So this is definitely a block that I want to revisit in the future. I think it's just so fun with all the things that you can do with this block. So make sure that I have all of my pieces in the right spot. This step cannot be overstated. And I'm going to put all my Mirage blue pieces in place. There we go. So now I'm going to stitch pairs as I start getting towards my rows, and then I'll be able to stitch rows, and that just goes faster with chain piecing. I'll be able to stitch all those pairs and then stitch the pairs into rows. Then I can press, and then I can stitch the rows together, and I'll have the whole block done. So let's just go ahead and rock. I can start to put these all more or less back in place. Should be pretty easy. And I'm just going to leave the last one hanging on my machine for now, because as I chain piece, I want to leave it there. Okay, I have all my rows here and they've gotten all mixed up. Not a huge deal. I'm going to figure out where they go. So now I'm going to iron the rows with the seams going in opposite directions. So I'm going to start this one in this direction. There we go. So now I have this one going in this direction, which means I want this one going in the opposite direction. So I'm going to have all of them go this way. There we go. Going towards the left, going towards the right. So this one needs to be going towards the left. So I've now ironed them with the rows going in opposite directions. I can stitch these two rows together, and then these 2 rows together. And then my block, then I just need to stitch those sets of rows together. My block is done. So I'm nesting my seams, getting everything all lined up for going underneath the sewing machine here. So one last time, before I put the rows together, I like to lay them out to make sure that I don't put them together incorrectly. I've got this diagonal, I've got both my little Pac-Man going towards the center, so I'm good. Put these rows together, and then I'm a press away from getting my quilt block complete. So here we go. And when I finish a block, I usually just press it all in one direction when there's this many seams. You could go through a whole series of spinning seams. That's a lot of work, honestly, to get all those seams spun. And depending on how you're going to use it, it may or may not make a big difference. So press it from the back, press it from the front. How do we do? There we are. The Road to Oklahoma quilt block is complete. And that's how easy it is to make the Road to Oklahoma block. Remember to follow me over on Instagram. You can find me as Craftmore. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel and that you've pressed the bell so you get all the updates. Like this video so that other people will see it. If you have any questions or comments, leave those down below. And remember that on my blog, alwaysexpectmore.com/quilty5k, I have the instructions for this block in the 6-inch size, the 12-inch size, and the 18-inch size, as well as a coloring sheet and instructions for all the other blocks in the Quilty 5K. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you right here again soon with another block in the Quilty 5K.